right, it's in. We finally know. And I got to tell you, Josh, it's time for you to just eat some little bit of humble pie. I know it's tough, but you were telling me UFC 300, it was set. The main event, it's Izzy versus DDP. No doubt about it. Bullshit.
John, it's exactly like I said. It said Pereira and versus Hill is going to happen, and look what happened.
Oh, there you go.
It's exactly like I said. Look, John, I called it. I called it. It was just one of many options I had on the table. Obviously, this was my number one option, was Alex Pereira versus Hill, and Jamahal Hill and Pereira getting after it. But look, it's going to be a great fight, John. You're right, John. Look, I tried so hard because I really thought it was going to be DDP and Izzy.
I know you did.
I really did. I can't backtrack it now. There's just no way, man.
No.
I just said it last show. And I've been saying it for like a month. I've been saying it for a month now.
Dana comes out and he goes, we're going to have Alex Pereira taking on Jamahal Hill. And I went, Jamahal Hill? Yeah. Oh, my God. That's not DDP.
No, it's not even close.
Oh, well, that's all right. Yeah. It's a good fight. I like it.
Look, I think what happened was everyone had this expectation. It was going to be this barn burner, like big, huge, like it was just too high. Expectations were set too high.
Can only be so much.
John, this is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, fight cards put together. You've got the opening prelim fight with a former champion, with Cody Garbrandt, and it's like, and with Davison Figueiredo, two champions, former champions. Yeah. They're the opening prelim is what.
The opening prelim.
Like, calm down, you guys. This was honestly from the beginning to the end with Alex and with Jamahal Hill now being put on there. This fight card is a stacked. I couldn't have asked for a better card. It is fantastic from the beginning to the end. Great stuff. I think all the fights are going to live up to it. I think they're going to be fantastic. This is a stacked card. I'm very excited for this fight. I mean, is there someone on here you've never seen before or you've ever heard of before? Can you scroll? There you go, right there. I mean, everyone on here, we all know. I mean, that's Youssef fight versus Lopez fight is going to be a fantastic fight.
Fantastic.
Rodriguez versus Andrade, going to be a great fight.
Great fight.
Bobby Green and Jim Miller.
Jim Miller.
I'm a historian, so it's like,
love it. Love that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great fight. This whole card is stacked, man, and I'm pumped to see it all come about. Kayla Harrison making her debut against former champion Holly Holm. Bo Nickel.
Well, if you take a look and, Dave, do me a favor. Go from the top because we have two champions in the, one champion, one former champion. But let's be honest, Jamahal Hill gave his title up when he was injured with the Achilles tendon thing. So it's not like someone beat him for it. So we got 1, 2, 3 with Whaley. If you want to go interim, you can say 4 with Justin, 5 with Max, but we'll say 4. I'm not gonna go with the interim stuff. 6 with Charles, 7 with Yuri.
Scroll down.
Now move. All right, we've got 8 with Aljamain, 9 with Cody, 10 with Davison, 11 with Holly Holm. Continue on.
Well, you can go also too with Kayla. Kayla's been the champion, too, not in the UFC, but she's been a champion.
Yeah, but
she's won the tournament several times. I'll give her some love.
Yeah, she absolutely. She'd be. But I mean, it's amazing how many champions or former champions are on that card.
And Jessica Andrade.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of champions on there. This is going to be a great card. I know you guys are hoping for some. For Brock Lesnar to come off the shelf or something at 50 years old.
Why?
I don't know why.
Why?
Dave's going to chime in and say, because he's the greatest combat sports fighter of all times. He's going to give us some bullshit like that.
Did you see the picture of Brock with his daughter, who she's a shot putter?
Oh, I did.
I believe Colorado State.
I did.
I love that. Because it's like, hey, you got Brock Lesnar and you got to figure he's not going to make beach bunnies. That's just not going to come out of it. But his daughter's an athlete, and man, she looks like him. Let's just be honest. She looks a lot like him. I was like, well, if you're going to end up, I tell people all the time, I do it with, you, and I look at your daughter and say, man, thank God she looks like your wife. Right?
Yes. Yes. All right, well, hey, let's go ahead and break down this this fight. I mean, you've got Alex Pereira versus Jamahal Hill. John, I got to be honest. I'm surprised that Jamahal Hill was able to come back so fast from a torn Achilles. That's one. What,
Okay.
you look like you were about to say something.
No, I've been there. I've had a torn Achilles, so I know exactly about it. This is about the right amount of time.
Is it? But also to get back
Yeah.
into the camp too and have a full.
Sure, because you got to figure, how long's it been? It's been over 9 months.
Yeah, it happened to International Fight Week last July, correct?
Okay. So take, all that way. Now you look and you go, okay, you had the surgery. The surgery is going to take about 6 weeks for you to be doing nothing
Mm-hmm.
in a boot or a cast. And then you start doing your, physical therapy. And now he's back to being able to push off of it. And now he's finally got confidence that it's not going to snap on him. And it's not because, your Achilles tendon is pretty thin.
Mm-hmm.
If you reach down and feel yours, mine's about 3 times as thick. And his is too now because of the surgery and the way, and it just gets strong. So, I look and it's like, he's going to have all the time to get himself prepared. The real question for me in this is, look at Jamahal Hill is a striker. He is just a flat out, he's a striker. You can sit there and say anything about his ground game. We've seen him get submitted by, Paul Craig with the arm where he's tough as hell. He didn't give in, let his arm go, but he's a striker. He's going up against one of the most elite strikers there is in the UFC right now. A guy who at this size, he's a problem. He is a problem for everyone because especially when he doesn't have to worry about you taking him down. This is going to be one of those. Jamahal Hill's got power in his hands. There's no doubt that he can knock Alex out. He's got that kind of power. Can he land it though? Because that's going to be the real question. Where are you to land those shots? I think Alex Pereira is obviously, an amazing athlete coming out of glory and being a two-time or 2 division champion there. He's a 2 division champion in the UFC already with how many fights? Look, I know that Jamahal Hill's going, well, if you're going to fight him, man, you can fight him now.
Yeah.
Right? You're right. But man, you're facing a tough competition in that one.
What's Alex got? What, like 9 wins in the UFC? 2 title belts.
Like
he's got
9 wins overall.
9 wins overall. So he's got 6 or 7 wins. 7 or 8? 7. So 6 wins and 7 wins in the UFC. 1 loss.
6 wins and no loss. So 7 fights.
Yes,
okay,
sorry,
6 wins and a loss. And to Izzy. When I look at Izzy is a very refined striker. Stays pretty tight with his combinations. Jamahal Hill, a little bit more loopy, a little bit more wild, but also just as fast as Izzy. He's got a snap jab. He's got fast hands, but he also possesses more power than Izzy. And I'm not going with Jamahal Hill, but I am saying.
I think you are.
No, I'm not going with Jamahal Hill, but I am saying that Jamahal Hill's got a really good chance of getting this knockout. Really good because
Alex's chin is out there because his hands are low.
His hands are low. He tends to lean back a little bit too. Jamahal Hill is long. He's rangy. He can get in there and he can get in there fast and he can get in there hard. And if he's able to touch that chin, it could be lights out. We saw it against Izzy and I think we could see it again. Alex, where I think is going to, as this fight goes on, I think Jamahal Hill's got to get him out of there in the first round.
Yes.
Because as this fight goes on in round 2 and 3, Alex going to find more of his rhythm. He's going to start finding his range.
Not only it is the low calf kick and it's the way that Alex throws it. He doesn't look like he's got a ton of power on it, but it lands with a thud and it definitely affects that leg. And Jamahal being a guy who he lives off of his striking, he puts a lot of weight on that front leg. So he's not going to be checking that much. He's going to have to be very, very studious in trying to measure when he believes that kick is going to come because he can't take that many. If he's taking more than 2 of those around, he's in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you. He can't afford to take too many of those because Alex, the way he sets it up is he doesn't set it up. He just throws it lazy and lackadaisical out there. And if it lands hard, great. If it doesn't, oh well, next time it will. Like he doesn't think to himself, I've got to land this leg here. He just does it off off a little bit of movement and just touches you. Just a little bit of movement and just touches you. I do think that Jamahal Hill is going to wrestle, though. I do think he will threaten a takedown or two, which will get Alex to be a little bit of that slight hesitation to think that he's going to have to, get the underhooks or dig the underhooks. I think Jamahal Hill will threaten a takedown or two, especially early in the fight, to keep Alex thinking about that. And that will open up. That slight hesitation will give Jamahal Hill the opportunity to get that strike in deep enough to land clean on the chin. That's where I'm looking at, like, Jamahal Hill's going to have to utilize a little bit of that wrestling to open up the stand-up for that hesitation to exploit Alex. Because Alex, one thing is he is very hittable. He will. Oh, yeah. He can take a shot. He'll give,
There's no doubt he's hittable, but for the most part, and this is where I look and I talk about, the weight cut, big difference between 85 to 205, 20 pounds there. He's going to cut weight to get to the 205 because he's a big dude. But it's not the drain that it was on his system, which absolutely makes you more vulnerable to being knocked out. People don't understand what happens to the brain. The brain is full of water. And when you dehydrate, the cells shrink, and they don't just, come back to their normal size and shape based upon you putting water in it. It takes time. And so when he doesn't have to lose near as much weight, now he doesn't have that same effect. And I believe he can take a bigger shot because I watched him take a couple of shots from Yuri that he just walked through, and that's his norm. That's where he was comfortable in doing before, so he can do that to a point. Again, I agree. I think Jamahal Hill's got power in his hands. He can put him out. But if I'm going to pick a striker, I got to go with Alex Pereira.
I got it. I understand why. I do understand why. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact, John, this guy's been in the sport for 10 fights, or 11 fights. He's a 2-division champion.
Yeah.
This guy
but a lot. You got to be honest about this. And look, and this is taking nothing away from him. First off, he was a phenomenal athlete and fighter before he came to the UFC. He was a phenomenal fighter before he came to MMA. Then he comes to MMA. He goes with the right people as far as helping him get used to things, like Glover, a guy who's been there, done it, wins the championship, all those things. And he kind of rides that little wave with him and is just along for that ride to see everything that's happening and where he's at. And then he has, I'm going to just say it straight out, he has a run in the UFC where the UFC never tries to screw him over. They never put a big-time wrestler against him in any real position if you're looking at it. The best, if you're going to look, take a look at who he fights there. Bruno Silva's a striker. Sean Strickland is a striker. Izzy's a striker. All these guys that they're putting against him, for the most part, they're all strikers. Now, Jan is the closest, I would say, to being a guy that, can wrestle, but Jan's older. And you're the first person that says, when you get older, wrestling, it's just not the same. And so I'm not saying that, the UFC's done anything wrong. They haven't. That's, they've taken care of him as far as putting him in those fights where his skill set matches up pretty well with his opponents, and he doesn't need to be that great defensive wrestler at this point. As time goes on, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in this fight right here, I don't think Jamahal Hill has that wrestling ability to really create problems for Alex with his wrestling.
Maybe you misunderstood me. I'm not saying he's going to get the takedown. I'm saying that he's going to threaten it.
You're just going to threaten it.
Yeah,
I understand.
Which will give him that slight hesitation to maybe Jamahal Hill's strikes getting in or threading the needle and landing on the chin. Because he's got that.
But you got to look at Pereira's hands are down already. So, you start to, drop, his hands are down there to stop that type of takedown. So it's not going to be easy.
Here's the other thing on the flip side of this is I actually dealt with an injury right after I won the title. And in that is that I was more hungry to get back knowing that I was the champion, get back as fast as I could, train harder. I would never stop training during that process, during that time. And mine was I broke my ankle in 3 spots. So it's very similar to where I couldn't really do a whole lot. But as soon as I was able to run within a 6 to 8 week period, I was on the pre-core doing sprints, just getting my lungs going, getting the body going. I wonder if that same type of motivation was there for Jamahal Hill, because you were the champion. You know that you gave it up because you didn't want to hold up the division. You knew that it was going to be a long injury. But that motivation of being like, hey man, I was there. I am the champ. Like in my mindset, you never lost the title. I still am the champ. That belt you have is on loan. It's mine.
Yep.
And so,
well, now this is a chance to prove it, though.
but he's going to come back, I think, even more motivated, understanding how good he was when he left. And I don't think some people, when they get injured, they take time off, like legit, just take time off. They don't go,
just drop off.
They just drop off. I think if you're coming off someone like this, where he was the champ, he's like, he's doing everything he can. This is my time. This is my time. I'm doing whatever it is I can. I'm hitting mitts. I'm hitting the bag, even if I got to do it from a sitting chair. That motivation is there right now, I believe.
Yeah. No, look, I love Jamahal Hill. I think, as Dave would say, Jamahal.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if I was going to pick one opponent that is a bad stylistic matchup for him, it would have to be Alex. I look at, Jamahal, obviously he's got the ability to beat great fighters. And he's done that in the past. But this is the one, striking is that's his bread and butter, and his power is his bread and butter. He's going to have to figure out a way to get past a guy who's been doing it his whole life.
Give me a winner, John. You're saying Alex?
I pick Alex.
How so, and in what round?
I say Alex, but hey, it gets him, and it's going to be a, TKO knockout stoppage, 3rd round.
I would love to give you guys my prediction, but I picked Izzy and DDP to be the main event, so you don't want to listen to me anyways. Yeah. I think this fight's going to be better than we think. I think that Jamahal Hill is going to come in.
I think it's going to be a good fight.
I think he's going to come in more motivated. I think we're going to see a very determined Jamahal Hill. He's going to have a good game plan for fighting Alex. I'm going to say it could potentially end up going the distance and be in a split decision.
Do not forget that Alex's trainer fought Jamahal Hill. So he's got a little bit of information to give him.
This is true. The research has been done there. They know what they're doing. Alex is a stud.
Yep.
So, but guys, I'm still going with Izzy and DDP as the man. Just like I predicted. I
know what's going to happen. They're going to pull this fight off, and in steps. Okay.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, hey, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and that's a wrap.